I welcome each one of you. Some of you are planning, preparing, exploring the possibility of becoming gurukul students next year and trying to taste what will that experience be like. What should I expect ahead? We also have some students here who are just completing their first year of studies at Vedika Gurukul. These students have completed a year of imbibing, internalizing, living, exploring, trying to understand, having revelations within themselves about how to use the knowledge of Ayurveda to take care of their own health, to live a healthier life, to live a happier life, to feel more connected with nature and seasons and the environment, with their society and with themselves. We also have students who are completing in some cases their second and in some cases their third year of studies at the Gurukul, and these are students who decided after completing this first year of healing themselves, feeling like, I've discovered how to understand and flow with the most healthy patterns for myself, who then decided, now I want to go on to learn how I can heal others, how I can take better care of my family and friends, how I can be that person who knows what to do when somebody suddenly has a boil, when somebody has a cold, when somebody is having headaches, and somebody is having indigestion, and somebody is experiencing way too much anxiety and not knowing how to, what is the connection between this anxiety I feel and this condition that's happened, this rash I have on my body? What is the difference between, the struggles that I'm having internally about who am I and what's my place in society, and these strange things that I'm feeling in my digestion? And we also have students who have finished all the, shall we say, coursework in these studies, and who have now begun a very exciting clinical internship that they're going to carry on into next year. Learning how to bring the knowledge that they have acquired in the teaching sessions and begin applying it to people, especially to promote health, to see what is the potential for this person, where does their health, how can I build the strength of this person, how can I guide this person to turn to things that they might have in their own kitchen and their own garden and be able to live healthier lives. And it's a pretty exciting internship program under the guidance of our teachers. We also have with us our teachers. We have Vaidya Mahesh Savade, who likes to sit right in the back, but who's going to be called up to the front soon. Dr. Savade studied Ayurveda for many years, both at a graduate and postgraduate level in India. He went through the university system and studied Ayurveda very systematically in college. He also, due to his own passion and good heart, sought out a really master healer in Pune, in the city where he lived. And due to his, I would say, just dedication, that great sort of master healer became his mentor. And because we often ask him, how did you learn so much? And we discover that he would go every afternoon after class and sit and just watch what was happening in this healer, in this Vaidya, as we call them, in their clinic. And his absolute dedication, when people were out, other people I'm sure were off at the movies or eating great stuff, he was like, no, let me just learn as much as I can. Let me see in action what I'm learning in the texts. Joining us very soon will be our Ayurveda chef, Sanjay. I often think that Sanjay, his Ayurvedic background was really in his grandmother and mother's kitchen. He was fed Ayurvedic seasonal food growing up, and now he teaches us how to make it. I think when he was growing up, he didn't quite realize that that's what he was learning. But he went on to turn his love of cooking good food and feeding people to really bring back the recipes and wisdom he had eaten from his grandmother's cooking. And we have our head teacher, our Acharya, Shunya Pratichi Mathur, whom I'm sure you have all met. She had I think she was immersed in Ayurveda even before she was born. As I'm sure you have heard, she studied Ayurveda with her grandfather, who lived in their home, who was an Ayurvedic healer, who was a scholar, who was a master yogi, who, he was a scholar of Vedanta, he was a scholar of Sanskrit, he understood Vedic astrology, and all these things just lived in this very fluid, holistic whole. He also had great compassion, I would say, and dedication for people who were suffering, and really practiced everything he knew and shared it in the spirit of service, which is very much the Ayurvedic tradition. And what Shunya has done is bring what she grew up amidst, what was instilled on her, what she ate, drank, practiced, heard, read, studied, and brought it here, keeping the essence, which is why we call it a gurukul, that living knowledge, and also finding a very appropriate, contemporary ideal for Emeryville, Berkeley, for people today and tomorrow here, manner of expression. And for those of us who have been who have been students, it's been a very exciting experience. Sometimes I think of it as, we get some of the elements of what you might call traditional grandmother's wisdom. We hear about many grandmothers in India who knew what to cook according to the season, what to cook according to whether somebody, was feeling like, oh, I'm not hungry, we know what's going on with you, what to feed you. They knew, what to bring from the garden if somebody had a cut or a scratch. They knew what to feed you if you're feeling feverish, which is nothing. But they knew how to take care of, the kids when they got coughs and colds, how to anticipate what a season was going to bring and take preventive action. Change the spices in the food so that before the season changes, you're already cooling the body if that's needed, warming it up if that's needed, drying it out if that's needed, making it more robust if that's needed. So there's a little bit of what I call the grandma's wisdom. There is wisdom that I often associate with, the yogis and sadhus of India, who are so dedicated to, finding one's inner center, understanding that when you're living in peace and harmony and attuned with yourself, that your health becomes better and better. Understanding that some of the things that we look at and might think, oh, that's yoga and that's mantra practice and that's a religious practice, and these are, why I say religious practice, such as, taking care of other people in the spirit of charity, reciting mantras, that these things actually are all fabulous ways to build our health and our happiness. That you know, those very yogis who were the people who counseled people to, you know, to help them get past their pain, their upset, their anxiety, and become more attuned, more happy to be just right where I am today. Those people who said, you know, go out of this dark room and take a walk in nature, who knew how to take people from unhappiness to happiness, that these are all integral parts of Ayurveda's vision of health. And then one of the aspects of Ayurveda that's been beautifully captured in the Indian university system is really understanding the science. You know, what is the effect of this taste on the body? What is the effect of that herb? Who should take it, when and how, and exactly what quantity? Who should have it with water? Who should have it with honey? Who should have it with ghee? What time of day should you take it? Ayurveda has this brilliant science that is actually philosophically grounded in the ancient texts of India, in the texts of the Vedas, in Sankhya Yoga, which is the same philosophical foundation as yoga. And it has actually brilliantly articulated texts of its own. There were sages of Ayurveda, whose names you'll become familiar with next year, Charak, Sushut, Vagbhat. I mean, these people were geniuses. The power of observation, both external and internal, they had is something breathtaking. Their ability to gather knowledge, to gather the health practices of traditional people, you know, throughout the Indian subcontinent, and to understand the principles that were at play, and bring all of this into an organized system. It's just something astonishing. And at Vedika, we are feeling very fortunate to have all these streams present. At Vedika, as gurukul students, we not only learn the science, we not only try to study who am I in terms of what is my bodily constitution and what's my greatest strength and where am I off track here and how does that get put back in line. We don't just keep it in our heads. It's not just about learn something and then, you know, study it up for the exam and write the exam and done with it. We focus on living what we learned. So we take it step by step. So when you're learning every piece of the science you learn how would you apply that in everyday life? What does that have to do with what I'm eating today at this moment? We're also daring to really explore some of the beautiful aspects of Ayurveda. From, you know, we can, some of the things that may not look very, shall we say, commercial, but which are beautiful to explore in your own life. Last week was one of the brightest full moons of the whole year. And, you know, so the Vedic Gurukul students, we kept glass jars of water under the moonlight, so it would gather the energy of the moon, of the bright stars, and then we left it throughout the next day so it would gather the energy of the sun. That water is delicious. Mm-hmm. So we're really undergoing this personal exploration together. Sometimes when people think of a gurukul, they think of it as, okay, so we're all going to, you know, go and live in a little hermitage in the forest. A gurukul means the family of the guru, the family of the teacher. And we've found this very beautiful way of living, shall we say, as a family, that sense of doing something together without necessarily always being under the same roof. Often, you know, when we wake up early in the morning, it's one of the things we learn pretty early on in our studies of Ayurveda, the value for health and happiness of getting up early in the morning before the sun. And there's that feeling like, you know, a lot of other people, a lot of other Vedika Gurukul students are up right now. Sometimes it's just that, that'll be the one thought that's like, and therefore I will not roll over and go back to sleep. Sometimes it's like, oh, yes, I know they're out there, you know, greeting the sun, doing their early morning practices, you know, taking, you know, that herb that was prescribed for them, that rejuvenating herb that was prescribed for them to have early in the morning. Sometimes it's when we're making food selections and deciding, yes, I will cook khichdi tonight, or I will make myself this hot spiced milk at night because I know that my body feels so good after I have that. My mind feels very calm and undisturbed. I wake up feeling refreshed instead of heavy in the morning. So there's that sense that we are doing this as a collective family. There are a lot of people associated with Vedika who are not sitting in the room. And that includes most of our faculty members. We are very fortunate to have this very esteemed faculty who visit, some from time to time, some regularly throughout the years. We have Dr. R.H. Singh, who is a very senior professor from Banaras Hindu University. And you know, these are people who've spent their life not only teaching Ayurveda, but just who love it so much that you look at them and you feel like, ah, this is the poise of somebody who lives by what they teach other students. We have Dr. Abhijit Jinde, another wonderful teacher from Pune, a colleague of Vidya Maheshji. And we have, there are many other Ayurveda teachers of this caliber who come to teach in Vedika either once a year, twice a year, or every 2 years. And they are really like the cream of the cream, and we're actually very fortunate that they are so excited about this gurukul model. They're always so pleased to see the students of Vedika that it's very encouraging and humbling to hear the good words that they have to say. And it takes no effort to persuade them to come back again. We also have our visiting Vedic priest, his name is Sri Vivek Shastri Godbole, who comes to, this past year, for example, he led us in some Vedic ceremonies. He's also an accomplished Vedic astrologer. He gave some classes on that to give a little glimpse of how does Vedic astrology and Ayurveda, how do they come together. We have Dr. Raghuram, who is a great teacher of yoga philosophy. We have Swami Bodhananda, who's a wonderful Vedanta teacher, who'll be coming actually in a few weeks, and I think we'll have some open classes that will be open to the public where he'll be teaching. And sometimes we just have surprise teachers who come, people who are just visiting the US, and we really enjoy sharing these really high caliber teachers with all of you. When Shanti was introducing me, I was just going to say to her, I just love Ayurveda and I love Gurukul. That's really who I am. And I look forward to getting to know all of you. I would love to introduce our two teachers. I wonder if Maheshji and Sanjayji, if you would come and sit here and say a few words to the students.
This particular science has its own parameters, it has its own philosophy, it has its own understanding. So it's a science complete in itself. Over the period of time, what happens is Ayurveda is showing its good results in various conditions. Like when we talk about a particular case, like, okay, it's liver cirrhosis. So what we can do? So in India, if you ask any modern Western medicine doctor, okay, there's a problem with liver, so what will you do? Okay, let's refer him to an Ayurvedic doctor. So Ayurveda has that much of strength in India, and that is how Ayurveda is treating various disorders, which so far is considered as incurable or not treatable, but Ayurveda is showing tremendous good results in such particular conditions. This is what Ayurveda in India is. And I'll just give you an idea about the education of Ayurveda in India. In India, Ayurveda, I mean, to get admission in an Ayurvedic college, it's a very tough job. You have to study a lot, you have to have good marks, and all those things are like the basic prerequisites. And then you get an admission, then you learn Ayurveda for a certain period of time. And during that particular period, you understand the basic philosophy, you understand clinic related things, you understand medicines, herbs, all those things that you understand in Ayurveda. So this is how Ayurveda is growing in India. Over the period of time, in last 25 years or so, Ayurveda is getting popularized all over the world. So during this particular period, I mean, what actually happened was, or rather what actually is happening right now is, some of the aspects of Ayurveda are getting more popularity, whereas some of the aspects are not getting the right due importance of ideally they should get. So this is how Ayurveda is getting popularized all over the world. So that's why you probably might have seen there are so many courses, so many institutes, they offer like 2 days workshop on Panchakarma, or I don't want to talk about anybody else, but I just need to, I mean, it's my duty to explain to you the importance of Ayurveda and how strong this science is. So that's why I'm giving you an idea about this. So Ayurveda is, it's not a like a simple color therapy or very simple kind of use of certain rules and you just make it by heart and you use it in your clients, because it's not something which is just going to complement a particular condition. Whether you get good results or not, that doesn't matter, but Ayurveda is a complete medical science, and that is what we totally believe in it. And even though we call it as a medical science, what we understand Ayurveda is that it has come from the Vedas, it has the spiritual substratum, spiritual base for that, and it is totally, it's like the foundation is so strong, so that's why we could build this skyscraper which is still alive for thousands of years. So this is what Ayurveda is. And so far, by learning, by seeing people how they are learning Ayurveda, the way Ayurveda is being propagated all over the world, so we thought, okay, now this needs to be changed. So we came together and we have thought about the ideal curriculum which gives importance to all the aspects which are relevant to Ayurvedic philosophy, Ayurvedic medical science as a whole. So that is why for our students, we don't teach pulse diagnosis in the first year or second year or even third year. We teach them at the fourth year. So this is how we actually inculcate various knowledge and various things in the students step by step. So our initial step is always to heal yourself. But at the same time, we have certain thoughts about that curriculum also. So we just don't teach certain things randomly. So we have a very clear-cut understanding about how we are taking students up to a particular level. So whoever wants to be a Vaidya, we have that particular understanding about it. But there are some students who want to learn Ayurveda for their benefit. They want to get the benefits out of it to make themselves healthy. So we have a different curriculum. But overall, I would say whatever curriculum we have made, it's the most scientific and it has absolute understanding or the complete understanding about the philosophy of Ayurveda. Because any science, anything what you study, it's not about its applications, but it's about its principles and its philosophy. So we focus on philosophy more than the applications. I mean, that doesn't mean we discount applications, but our first goal is to make students understand about the philosophy. Once you understand the philosophy, then it is easier for you to read books, to read other things, and expand your knowledge about Ayurveda. So that's how we mainly focus on Ayurvedic education as such. So that's why we sometimes feel that we are different from others, but we are proud to be different because we have that understanding about Ayurveda. Thank you.
So, expanding on what Maheshji already said, that Ayurveda is an in-depth science. It not only involves the body, mind, and spirit as well. And who would have thought there's a science to the food as well? And so, a very important part of the curriculum is learning how to cook the right things in the right season at the right time. You got a sample of that tonight, and that's how it is every night. Well, one of the students takes up the seva of, cooking food for the entire school. The menu changes according to the season. Yes, the focus principally is more in the food is an important part of the curriculum throughout, but very, very focused in the first year because it's a part of self-care and heal yourself. What would be a better way than eating the right food? Because it affects you at all the three levels. I love to do that, which is probably the reason I get very popular, is because I can easily win people over with food. And that's all I have to say.
Really, the way he speaks is through his food, which is both delicious and always leaves you feeling energized and happy and somehow delighted. His food isn't like going to a restaurant and feeling weighed down. It makes you feel like, if food is medicine and this is what the medicine tastes like, sign me up. Thank you. And now I'd like to welcome Shunyaji, our head teacher.
Welcome everyone, new faces, old faces, my beloved students from 1st to 4th year. Welcome everyone. If you are here and you have never heard the word Ayurveda, except you are here because someone with a big smile and happy eyes told you to come here, and you followed your heart and you came here, and you came here for one and one reason alone, which is because you wondered why they have that smile, why they are feeling so positive about you coming here. So the person who brought you here or shared their spark with you is an ambassador of this healing science. And actually, if you were to continue here and be with us for some time, 2 months, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, or as one student asked me if she could be here for 12 years, you will then realize that that ambassador of Ayurveda was actually a mitra, a friend. A friend is one. A true friend is one who doesn't keep goodness or whatever helps them as a private secret, but shares it with the world generously and says, look, this thing, this path, these foods, these herbs, these people, this knowledge, this philosophy, this science has helped me, eased me in this body and being. Here, this is for you to benefit from. So in short, Ayurveda is the science and art and philosophy of masterful living, joyous living, beautiful living, healthy living. That is why its first and foremost goal is prevention of disease and optimization of your God-given health. And also, it has the wonderful scope and ability to heal, as Maheshji mentioned, the most chronic and difficult of disorders, and also things which we today in spite of our medical, technological, biochemical, biotechnology advancement consider as incurable, we are able to possibly give it a spin, and many diseases such as asthma, eczema, and many more which are considered incurable actually become well maintained or even cured. So what is this science, what is this philosophy that we in California, in United States, in this jazzy century feel so excited about? And we are all sitting here in its great, corridor. There are almost 25 schools of Ayurveda in America alone. Globally also Ayurveda is growing. I was a speaker on education, global education in India, where over 5,000 delegates were present, and I was one of the speakers, presenters. I was representing United States. And there were participants in the audience from 300 countries. 300 countries. Participants on the dais were maybe from 3-4 countries, and America being an important one, I got a chance. But they were such small countries, I don't even know where they are on the map. But their representatives were there. So why is Ayurveda, in spite of being so ancient, in spite of being written in Sanskrit, in spite of being not necessarily having any governmental exchange and memorandums of understanding, growing like this, becoming so popular that you are sitting here? You may think I'm here because of my friend or a flyer or some random reason. But the reality is you are here because we are here. And why are we here? Because someone brought you here and they know about it. They have benefited. So something is going on, some movement. And that movement is filled with ambassadors of healing, friends of Ayurveda. And they become that when they benefit from it at some level or the other. So Ayurveda is able to give, as Sanjay ji said, some relief at the body level, at the mind level, and at the soul level. If you have been coming to the preparatory classes before this, then you have had a detailed introduction into many aspects of Ayurveda, which I would not be able to go into today. And if you are new and you have actually come to the final climax of this preparatory session, then you should wonder what a mature soul you are, that the universe chose you to send you to this unique class with the title Ambassadors of Healing. My students sitting here, I take the opportunity to address you, to go beyond your resistances and your challenges, to investigate what it means to be an ambassador of healing and why the world needs us. I'm going to do some reading from many years ago, before Vedika took shape, And I was mentioning to my colleague Maheshji that when I wrote that, I was ahead of my time. But now when I read it, I realize this is exactly what is being created. So indeed, I was very privileged to read my own writing that I had forgotten about. And I actually had to do a Gmail search in 2007-8 to find it. And when I found it, I thought, oh my God, what we believe in deeply we can manifest. In fact, we don't even have to work very hard. It becomes manifested. And today, with my students going into 5th year, 4th year, 3rd year, and becoming strong leaders, I can see that indeed Ayurveda is that unique field that can bring great relief to humanity. So I wrote, Vedika is an altar of transformation. The wisdom of Ayurveda is the match that ignites our consciousness, and flames of self-discipline, self-healing, self-inquiry, self-awareness, and self-love erupts forth from the being ablaze with truth, which will lead to the love and healing of all. Indeed, as the students walk in here, we have noticed that definitely the wisdom of Ayurveda has been igniting some kind of movement and change and transformation in their deepest being. And the first word I used was self-discipline. Students will laugh at this. All through the first year, we hold your hands and support you to begin understanding why self-discipline. Discipline not only in eating, in lifestyle, in living, but even in speech and even thoughts. I teach students how to, cut away, like prune away weeds, we prune away thoughts. The first thought of negativity that comes in the morning, cut it away. Right away before it brings on like cockroaches its whole family. So cut. So it is called discipline. No, I will not go there in my virtual world, discipline. No, I will not obsess on my poor finances, discipline. No, I will not think about my pain only, discipline. I will think about my unlimited potential, discipline. I will rise early in the morning, come what may, discipline. I will eat this and not eat that, discipline. So leaders are being formed through personal discipline, through integrity and authenticity developed through a great, gigantic, epic battle within. And that battle is fought on the frontier of discipline. And the victorious one arises master of themselves. True leaders who control the entire universe control them from inner mastery. The one who has controlled their tongue in taste can control their speech. They can control desires. They can control dependence. They can control addictions. And now even when they are in relationships, they are not dependent, but independent beings available to love and lead and shed light. So therefore, the first thought is self-discipline. The next that consciousness starts happening is self-healing. Through discipline, healing happens naturally. Most of our students here after 2-month course also say, oh my God, I'm not using the sleep apnea machine. Oh my God, my allergies are better. My rash cleared up. I lost 8 pounds. What happened? What happened, Shunyaji? Did you do it? Maheshji, did you put your hand on my head and bless me? What happened? Sanjayji, in your food, is there a magic ingredient? Many people think that. We all get a lot of pats on the back. But the reality is, we ignite. Ayurveda invites mature people to bring about self-discipline. And there is a science to it. There is a science to it. And we teach it. From 4:30 in the morning till 10 p.m. I teach you everything. Every food. Every 2 months it changes. And we make it simple and systematic. Bullet point if you want. So that you know how to make choices. Even if you're eating pizza, my God, if you're an Ayurveda student, you'll eat the healthiest pizza you can have between the variety available. On top of it, be able to say a mantra to privately convert the pizza into some other elixir all you can do is have pizza. You better enjoy it. But then you should know what will be your breakfast next day. What will be the drink that follows? What will be the herb that you take at night? So that pizza and its sticky, cloggy cheese doesn't clog your inner channels, doesn't make you feel heavy, doesn't make you feel guilty, doesn't make you put your finger in your mouth and have to vomit, doesn't make you feel guilty forever. For God's sake, convert the pizza into light, love and energy and not into guilt, unnecessary fat, cholesterol and sin. It's our choice. How conscious are we? And it begins with self-discipline. The self-disciplined one can have a pizza slice a day and be fine. They don't have to turn vegan and punish themselves and do all sorts of, internet diets. They can have anything. Wine, pizza, sex, money. But it comes from a solid foundation of self-discipline where none know that we are weak and can be pulled into this underground dark place or that prison or that sin. So in the consciousness, leadership and ambassadors begin with self-discipline, which leads to natural self-healing. Many people, when they start withdrawing certain foods and introducing certain foods, it just starts happening. Those who will go beyond the 2 months, the 1 year is huge, and we will be talking to a few people in about half hour, where the self-healing is just like tremendous. And after self-healing, the words that poured out of my consciousness for this writing was, self-inquiry begins. First, we are so full of, undigested pizza sauce and heartburn from the excessive acidic food we had and thick, mushy thoughts that entered our body and, and then all this nagging that we had to do anyway later in the day. And then all this old past agenda that was flowing around in our joints and made them feel angry. And everything was disturbed. But now that we have some self-healing, we can actually begin to feel some space. And that's when we begin self-inquiry. And Ayurveda, Maheshji, makes a whole science of self-inquiry. It's not just random, new agey, mind-healing stuff. It is not worship of this or that. Worship is fine, but it is self-inquiry. And in fact, Ayurveda is a whole sub-science of this self-inquiry of am I doing the right or the wrong, called sadavritta. The whole path of mental thoughts, behavior, actions, and taking ownership, responsibility. There is a whole science of Ayurveda, Manovignan or psychology that we teach. There is a whole platform of teaching self-inquiry every Thursday, every Wednesday for 1 hour where someone like me teaches a little piece so that we can say, who am I, what am I doing, and why the hell am I suffering? What did I do? Taking ownership, and what can I do? Who am I really? Am I a slave of my mind, or is my mind my boss, or am I its boss? It all begins with a little space where we can begin self-inquiry. From this self-inquiry flows self-awareness. It is self-awareness, not just mind awareness. We are all aware of our unhappy mind. That sad little voice which says, it's not enough, you're not adequate, you're not worthy, you cannot do it, this is terrible, this is very ancient medicine, these people look too cultish, this cannot work, I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I'm too small, I'm Indian, I'm white, I'm brown, I'm mixed, I'm gay, I'm straight, oh my God. That one we know, that's mind, don't pay attention. Self-awareness. Self-awareness. What's this self? So words came out of me many years ago. The self, the true spirit, the true soul, the undying one. The self journeys through various bodies in multiple incarnations, in varied time and space dimensions, and in inanimate and animate forms, and yet it never loses its sameness, itself. That which is truly the essence of all is self. This self supports all change and yet remains unchanged at all times. It appears far but is totally near. And to the one established in self, the truth is revealed. Now begins the final journey. What is left but to love and honor and worship the self? What is easier than to embrace the self in all beings and creatures? Service to all, seva, is the love of self by self. Seva, or selfless service, is the worship of self by self. Seva, selfless service, is the support of self to self. Seva is the hug of self, embracing all selves that share the same self. Self is love, self is God. So self-awareness. After self-inquiry, we are able to discriminate between non-self, nonsense, and self-sense. We are able to have awareness of something that is calm and quiet and rather pleased and relaxed and kind of having an adventure and its infinite potential and ability to respond very intelligently, creatively, beautifully, in spite of anything. But that is there, but just like when we don't know how to use our iPhone, so there are many apps we cannot know unless somebody shows us, right? In the same way, we don't know the app of self until we can figure out how to clear all that jangled up information on the iPhone, right? However, when he is feeling the world is dark, I am able to show him another application inside which makes him feel still. And that in my students I show after self-discipline, self-healing, self-inquiry, which leads to self-awareness. And after self-awareness, what is there? As we become aware of the self, we realize, oh my God, I'm filled with love. You mean that revenge that I was planning for 20 years was a waste of my time? You mean that journal that I wrote with such intention is nothing but Kindle, paper, recyclable? Oh. You mean that disease is not actually a disease, but actually just an imbalance that I can heal with just simple food eaten every day? Oh, all this love that I'm feeling, that I wish to share. Oh my God, this love, I cannot stop it because I have become a tree laden with fruit, and all the sweet fruit can do is fall and feed the whole universe. I have now become a leader from Vedika. I have now become a true ambassador of this science. I have now truly become a friend of humanity, because I am no longer this crunching, crying, whining, self-obsessed, self-caught, self-trapped, self-analyzing, all gone wrong machine. Have you seen that oldest E2, T2, what was that computer? R2D2. What was that? Which movie?
R2D2.
Which movie was that?
Star Wars.
Star Wars. And then when it all got broken up, remember that? I was very young when I saw it, but sometimes I feel like humanity is like that. One little wire coming out and some sound going on, and we bleep, bleep, bleep of the same pain, and we have these chronic disorders, and then comes our modern medicine with all its gadgets to try to fix things, and it's a hit and miss, and then comes Ayurveda. And then Ayurveda says, well, remember you're in a movie and anything can happen to you? And it's not real. We can make the script anything we want. We can have sequels. That is Ayurveda, my dear. I have no choice but to present you Ayurveda in this humorous, light way. Because when something is so grave, so heavy, so rich, and as Mahesh said, such a huge science, such a big medicine, which includes surgery to psychiatry, which takes people who feel like they are dying into health, which converts people who are miserable into leaders. What should I do with it? You tell me. What should I do? Because I have become a leader and an ambassador of Ayurveda because I am filled with that love and I have too many fruit. So I invite you to come eat some. And you don't have to eat the whole tree. Even if you rest under it, as if right now you feel good. When you come to our, Sunday Sanghas, our, free events, when you come to our free will donation clinic, all these goodies that we put out. But the invitation today is, would you like to begin this path of self-discipline? And discipline is not punitive. If discipline is punitive, then it's no fun. I'm not signing up for it. Discipline is masterful living. Discipline is where I know what are my limits and I'm not going to cross them, and I won't let anyone walk all over me either. I will not let the world seduce me, nor will I operate from seduction, and I'm a choice maker, thank you very much, and I will exercise it. And I will use the knowledge of Ayurveda, lifestyle, foods, disease prevention, mental health, social health, spiritual health. Take the help of my teachers, doctors if need be, to correct previous imbalances due to previous ignorance and, life situations. From fractures to schizophrenia, Ayurveda has answers. From poor vitality to infertility, Ayurveda has answers. From dull, foggy minds to brilliant, creative minds, Ayurveda has answers. From preventing memory loss to beauty loss, Ayurveda has a whole science called Rasayana, where every 10 years, right Maheshi, every 10 years, it introduces a certain herb into our biological body to prevent a certain loss. Because every 10 years as we age, we lose a vital function, be it vision, be it memory, be it skin, be it strength. And so if we take a certain herb every 10 years, anti-aging, my God, this is called getting younger. We have a whole science called Vajikaran, which makes us sexually virile, vital. It's not just to enjoy, but also to ensure that genetically we have strong humanity coming forward. Leaders are in the making. So ambassadors of healing, this is the topic. Because ambassador does something. An ambassador steps out of their comfort and their sofa and their little circle of achievement to travel the world, to speak to communities and to share with them and to build the bridges between this ancient knowledge from the sages of India to this modern world, because modern or ancient, Indian or American, Pacific Islander or Chinese, doesn't matter. We human beings, we suffer from exactly 21 sorrows. I just made up that number. We all suffer from the same things. In the body, let's just say the stomach, constipation, hyperacidity, vomiting, gas, irritable bowel syndrome, hemorrhoids. Do the Chinese people have new set of diseases? No, same. Even our dogs and cats suffer the same thing. So, physically same diseases, same sorrow. Mentally, Chinese mother is also worried, my teenager is not home. Shunya Mathur is also worried, my teenager is not home. You're also worried. Where's my dad? Where's my mom? What happened? What will not happen? Am I alone? Am I single? Am I married? Am I divorced? Am I widowed? Am I rich? Am I poor? Same stories. And spiritually also same story. Who am I? Why am I? Did I choose this? Why these parents? Where am I going? What's my life purpose? Why me? What is expected of me? What paradigm shift should I make? If only I could find a teacher, God, to tell me, here's what you need to do. Okay. Ayurveda tells us that. So I was born a very skeptical person. I'm not a blind devotee, faithful person just because you are born to certain kind of people or a tradition or you are Indian or you are a color. You'll have me convinced. No. But I became more and more convinced, and I have nowhere to look. My students have stopped looking for, more new research or waiting around for more foods, more vitamins, more aids, more anti this and antioxidant that, and they just have a simple food, simple lifestyle, simple herbs occasionally, and health continues to improve, and they are being crafted into leadership. Why are ambassadors necessary? So I wrote, the science of Ayurveda conceives the individual's health, mental and spiritual well-being as a dynamic, precarious, fluid, and eclectically changing paradigm due to its inherent, incessant, and compulsive fusion with the collective. The alterations in the collective invariably affect the individual. There is no part without the whole, and unless the whole is perfected, the part will continue to yearn and shrivel and experience the discomfort of imperfection and the pain of incompletion. So without thinking about our society, without thinking about our leadership, there is no point. In the successful collective, every individual knows his or her part and performs it to perfection. In the orchestration of the interconnected flow, a deeper health arises from within and becomes a source of inspiration and healing for all. Hence, Vedika as a school is not just come into being to collect students at any cost and stamp degrees and put you out there with less, more, or half-baked knowledge and leave you to your own devices, to make your own money, to pay back your student loans. That's a very simplistic way of offering education. Our purpose is to very selectively collect people who are willing to start on this journey of self-discipline and self-healing, self-inquiry, self-awareness, and then accept self-love and then offer love to all as leaders, as ambassadors, as friends, as sage teachers and healers. And therefore we have a process of matching you to us. We have a process of then working very hard with you. We have excellence in faculty. Mahesh is a topper throughout at his university. He's an MD. He has many years of experience. He's the chairperson of his own not-for-profit foundation that is functioning in India. These are not ordinary teachers. And we have collected the best of the best, along with myself, working with you non-stop. And then as you give us your willingness and your emptiness so that we can fill into it this beautiful knowledge, the rest of the process happens on its own. What the student is actually offering is a simple availability, and the teacher is offering a fullness to fill that availability, and then a beautiful process occurs. And whether we become world leaders or not, that we leave to time and God and universe and destiny. But if we can become personal leaders, then from personal leadership, personal empowerment, personal space of love, well-being and health, we invariably become leaders in our family, to our children, in our personal community, and our whole health and well-being becomes quite radiant. And we think, I don't know if I'm an ambassador or not, but little do we know that we have become ambassadors of smiles, ambassadors of healing health. I've had many people who've come up to me and said, your student told me this and it changed my life. This happened and that changed my life. I have a student here who was just happened to be traveling in the car with two of my teachers. And one of my teachers, or two of them, she has had a chronic condition that is incurable, was mentioned one particular food item made with yogurt and water to have, and then we didn't see this person for a long time. This was not our student. was just someone from the community, and they were all traveling to some event. And later when the student joined our school, she said, that car ride with this ambassador, who was actually our teacher, one of them was Maheshji, changed her life. And today she's about to go in the 3rd year to become a world leader herself. So such is the power of one food. One food. And this student's father is herself a doctor. And I was having the opportunity to lecture in front of her father at Stanford. And her father got up from the panel and complimented Ayurveda for helping the daughter. And I don't know how she managed to feed her father also those foods. I can just imagine father and daughter. Maybe he was indulging her. Later he liked the taste. But it is the smile of the daughter, the personal self-discipline, self-healing, self-inquiry, self-awareness, and the love that is radiating from her, that is a bigger magnet, and one day the daughter becomes the father and the father becomes the student. You see? Our parents are also waiting for us to take charge. Community is waiting. And how long do we want to just sit there and feel like, I can't do this. I'm not worthy of this. I have these problems, or I am not. Because when we hold the hand of a teacher, when we hold the hands of a, as Maheshji said, systematic curriculum, a designed method, and when we go forward in a not-for-profit like Vedika, where your every dollar is put to good use and only used for humanity, then at that point you know that you are in a safe environment and that you can possibly try this education for 2 months or for 1 year. Just wet your foot. We say to the skeptics, try it out for 2 months. We know they will know. We don't have to work hard. And why do we say this to you? Why do you have these classes? This is not just even reach out, this is soul reach. We are actually putting out the call for souls who vibrate with us, who understand us, who wish to become personally empowered leaders so that they become ambassadors of this healing knowledge in their family to begin with, then in their community, then in their country, then on earth, and then in afterlife in other dimensions. It just happens. Light has this thing. The light, the candle in this room and that room, it's no different. The light in the sun or the light here, it has no difference. The cut-off, miserable, solitary self is merely a concept. The deep, permanent bliss of oneness, wholeness, fullness, health and perfection is truth. The disunity and divide within and without is the mirage. The sacred circle of human unity, health, and the warmth of essential oneness, irrespective of differences, is the indisputable reality. So, as far as I am concerned, my dears, whether you are here for the first time or you are an ancient student here now and you've been here many years, it does not matter. I always speak to you always in the now, and I invite and re-invite each one of you to a wonderful sacred platform that I dared to found after I went through great suffering, great depression, great disease, and lost myself to other people's beliefs, other people's predictions of myself, to ill health that was just growing by the day within me. And I was choked and I had nowhere to go, but then my teacher was there to save me. And then when earlier I was just listening to my teacher but not internalizing it, but thanks to life's slaps and kicks, I started internalizing it. And once I internalized it, my process of self-discipline began, and then there was no looking back. And Vedika came from a place of love of all. And from the day one to day, it has only been growing and spreading in a very authentic, transparent way. There are students who are here from 2007 preparatory classes here. I think some of them are sitting in the back, and they will say to you quickly that nothing has changed. This is not a place where we sell products or sell you packages. Even when we sell you the classical texts, we sell you at cost price. Even when we give you organic meals, we give you at $2-3. We do whatever we can to support the journey. Our cost is the lowest that it can be. Anytime there are increments or needs, that is when we need it. This is a transparent, open, and your organization. If you don't decide to be a student, come offer us your seva. If you know, if you have a skill, if you have some method of helping more ambassadors and healers and doctors and teachers and leaders to come forth, come join us. If you have some ill health and you need help, come to our clinic. We have information out there. If you would like to come monthly and take information from us, come. But if you feel enough is enough and I want to become an inner leader and an outer leader, then you come be with me in a systematic way. I have a wonderful team. I have wonderful board members and president. We are all like a loving family, and there is much integrity, honesty, or not much, 100% integrity, honesty, and openness here. This is not a place for people who feel like I don't know who it's not a place for. It has to be case by case, right? But if you think it's a place for you, it will work for you. So I really, see, I don't have negative thinking. So I couldn't even come up with a negative scenario. So with this, I end. Thank you.